I'm Heidi's mum, Heidi that works here at Sargood. Back in December 2009, Heidi and I were out riding our motorbikes for the day, and she decided to pop into Franklin's and I went home. I got home, was making a cuppa, went out the back to have my cup of coffee and could hear all the sirens going over the back fence. And I remember thinking, wow, that's a lot of sirens very close by. And then someone came and knocked on my door with Heidi's driver's licence and said, "Does Heidi live here?" And I knew straight away that it was her in the accident. And the lovely people took me in their car around the corner. It was literally round the corner, and there was Heidi's on the road, and but she looked fine. She looked absolutely fine, didn't have a mark on her, nothing at all. I thought she was absolutely fine, and we went off to the hospital, Wollongong Hospital. This happened in Wollongong, and they flew her up to Prince of Wales Hospital in Randwick, and that's when we found out that Heidi was a T4 paraplegic, and she's a complete paraplegic. So she's paralysed from the chest down, and Heidi won't walk again. Yeah, so we really struggled from the moment we got into rehab because it felt to us that who Heidi and I were before the accident, all the knowledge that we'd gained in our lives, all the experience that we had, we really weren't allowed to bring to the situation. We found that there was a set procedure, and they knew the procedure, but we weren't allowed to know the procedure, and we were only allowed to know the tiny little bit at a time that she was allowed to do. And Heidi and I are very big picture people, and we need to know the whole thing, and then we'll do the bits at a time, but no one would tell us the whole thing. So I suppose my job right from the get-go, once I got over the news, and I got over the news pretty quickly, because I remember that first night in ICU being in tears. Heidi was sound asleep and I was in tears, and a gorgeous nurse asked me why I was crying, and I looked at her and thought, "Are you joking?" And I said, "Her life is over." And she said, "Oh God, no." She said, "When she gets out of here, she's going to be able to do anything she wants to do." And that's when it clicked for me that, okay, my job here is to go on the journey with her. I stayed with Heidi for 18 months after she got out of hospital, and we lived together. And our main goal the entire time was true independence, that she would be able to live by herself. It was really critical that she had her own young life to live independently and not be stuck living with her mum. And it was also important to me that I got my life back as well. It's a long life to be a carer, and we pushed every boundary to make sure she would have her life back. We struggled when she came home because we're mother and daughter for a start, so you're always going to have that. And we struggled as we learnt all the bits that we had to learn, and there is so much to learn to get your life back. If we had have had something like Sargood when she first came home, sorry, I'm going to cry. If we had have had a place like Sargood when Heidi's first came home, it would have made such a difference to us. We would have been in a much safer environment to learn, because there was so much to learn on that journey back to independence. I always say these accidents don't just happen to the person involved in the accident, it happens to everyone around them. And to have had the support of a place like Sargood, where she could have had her own room, I could have stayed as well, and we could have learnt together the things we needed to learn. And I could guarantee that it wouldn't have taken 18 months to learn what we had to learn. And it did take 18 months post-hospital, so it was 2 years altogether to have Heidi have true independence, where everything she did for herself. So what does Heidi do now? Heidi's got a disabled trike, so we're back on the road motorbike riding. She works. She's been overseas twice since her accident. She has a gorgeous partner and they live together. She has her own modified home in the centre of the city, and she can drive a car. The goals that Heidi kicks are just amazing. So I guess if you're a loved one that this has happened to your child, the hope is endless, but the hope is all about their attitude to what happened to them. It's about your attitude to what happened to them. And again, I can't say strongly enough, you want to shave off that time and get that hope and that attitude and that inspiration happening, then get in touch with Sargood, because they can definitely help you on that journey.